How's it going, my RWBY friends? I just finished watching Volume 6, Chapter 4, and it goes without saying that, spoiler alert for Volume 6, Chapter 4, if you haven't seen it yet, you don't want to watch this video, most likely. Let's continue on from there, though. So, I want to talk about the scene specifically where Qrow punches Oscar/Ozpin, because Qrow, well, any character in the show I kind of like to analyze as a whole. That's why I'm a theorist, that's why I've done character breakdowns and all that stuff. But especially I like to analyze Ozpin and Qrow because they are some of the more complex characters in this show. So when Qrow punched Oscar today, Ozpin Oscar, I was really trying to analyze like, man, that was kind of surprising. Because on one hand, I was thinking that I could see Qrow's character punching Ozpin to kind of snap him out of it. Because the moment, like right before Qrow punched him, was Ozpin saying that there's no way to beat Salem. And I could see Qrow punching Ozpin to kind of, man-to-man, deck him in the face and be like, all right, snap out of it. We've been through a lot already, and we can figure something out. Turns out that really wasn't why he punched him, though. Like, he was genuinely upset, both at Ozpin, but also himself. So I think this reflects back to Summer Rose. Personally, I'm one of the people, and probably I think the majority of RWBY fans are definitely on this train as well. Like, we definitely think that part of the reason why Qrow's an alcoholic is because he mourns Summer Rose's death. And also indirectly the whole thing with Team Stark falling apart. We know that he loved Team Stark. He even, referred to it as like one of the most, I forget the exact words, like Volume 3 when he was talking to Yang and RWBY about it, like one of the most estimable teams ever, like the wonderful Team Stark. So he misses Team Stark and he really mourns for Summer Rose's death. But he always trusted Ozpin. Even after Summer Rose's death, he put faith in the Ozpin that they could, beat Salem, I guess, and stop the Grimm. Then today, when Qrow finds out that Ozpin doesn't really think that he can beat Salem, that's when he was very upset, not just for the fact that he was following Oz on the hopes that he could beat him, but also the fact that Summer's death may actually have been pointless. For all we know, Raven and Qrow have had an argument or multiple arguments about this topic before. Raven could be like, Summer died for no reason. We can't beat Salem. Why are you still following this fool, Ozpin? And Qrow's like, no, I'm not going to let her death be for nothing. We will stop Salem. I will continue fighting for Ozpin. Something like that, right? Any sort of number of ways that conversation or argument could have gone down. I think it's reasonable to assume that they definitely had that talk in the past, in some sort of way at least. So when I see Qrow punching Ozpin today, and I'm really thinking about it, I think a lot of that is his own self-loathing, his own alcoholism, his own depression, his own mourning for Summer Rose's death, and now he's wondering if he really has been doing the right thing following Ozpin this whole time. Now, Ozpin did say exactly the right thing after that, when Qrow said that he thought he was making a difference in the world, that he could make a difference in the world, and Ozpin said, you can, and he was crying. He literally was crying as he said it. He's like, you can. And I agree with Ozpin there. I do think, just because Salem can or can't be defeated, because technically, the way the question was asked to Jin was, can Ozpin beat Salem? And she said no. But that doesn't mean can anyone beat Salem. The genies are very weird like that. But regardless, whether she can be defeated or not doesn't mean that they can't change the world for the better. As it is, Society and Remnant has been getting better and better and better since the Great War. The academies have, assured peace. Trade has been going on. Huntsmen are becoming more and more people are becoming huntsmen. They're learning how to use their sense and aura. You can basically pursue whatever kind of life you want in Remnant. Technology is advancing due to Atlas's achievements and, industry and all that. So as a whole, the Society in Remnant has definitely been getting better than, for example, the Dark Ages after the original pre-wipe of Remnant, when the God of Darkness destroyed everything. Humanity was in a state of darkness for a long time after that. And then Salem and Ozpin worked together, made their own kingdom, and started to turn that Dark Age around. But they were going around raiding other kingdoms, not for the sake that they were tyrants, but just to get more land. And that's when Ozpin was like, what are we doing? This is not what I'm supposed to be doing here. I'm supposed to be uniting humanity, not bringing humanity to war against each other. So Ozpin dropped out of that. And then, of course, there was another, after he reincarnated again, there was another state of darkness. He was in mourning again, and it just wasn't good. So humanity, the last 100 years or so after the Great War, has definitely been improving. Whether or not Salem is defeated or not, that's a fact. Of course, now tensions are very high with the fall of Beacon occurring. The CCT is down, meaning trade is very much more difficult because you can't communicate across the continents anymore. So things can get bad again. But the point is, whether or not Salem can be defeated or not doesn't mean that Qrow can't make a positive impact on the world. And I do think Qrow knows that, but right now he's constantly plagued by this guilt about whatever happened to Summer Rose. He's guilty about it, whether he was there directly or not. He does feel partially responsible for her death, and he knows that Ozpin is partially responsible for her death as well, but he's always kind of tried to stick up for Oz. And now, with this flashback, I guess he's wondering if that faith has been blind or whatnot. This is just my take on it anyways. So I feel really bad for Ozpin, and I feel really bad for Qrow. And if we look back in the intro, we do see those arms that Salem summoned this episode, the same exact looking arms, grabbing Qrow and pulling him into the darkness. Now, more so than ever, this seems like symbolic. You know, when we first had Chapter 1 and we saw that, a lot of people were theorizing maybe Qrow will die. Luckily, I think this kind of makes his death flags a little bit less. I don't think he'll die this volume. I really hope he doesn't, but like I said, before we had this chapter, it was a decent, little warning for us, but now it seems even more symbolic, so I would say that the death flags are lessened a bit even, and it's symbolic in the fact that Qrow is starting to succumb to that depression and these dark emotions, and that's symbolized with the Grim arms. Grims, you know how they are, they prey on negativity, pulling him into the darkness as he washes it away with a sip of alcohol. So we might start to see a very depressed Qrow. Hopefully he doesn't betray Ozpin and the good guys here. I don't think he would go that far, but Salem does approach people when they're at their worst. What's to say she doesn't approach Qrow? I'm not saying that's that likely. I really don't see it playing out that way, but it is a possibility, and I really don't see Qrow working with Salem. Yeah, I don't know. I still hold true to what I say. I think that after getting this backstory on Ozpin, I do think Team RWBY and Qrow can definitely become closer to him now that they understand better where he's coming from. And that can also develop Ozpin's character because he will start to trust people more again. That's obviously not happening right away, though. As of this chapter, things are more divided than ever between Team RWBY, Qrow, Ozpin, Oscar, and Maria's there. She was like the voice of reason. So we'll see. We'll see how this all plays out, but this is just my quick take on an analysis of Qrow's emotions, Qrow's mental state, as well as Ozpin's a little bit, and that whole scene with the punch there. I didn't even plan on making this video. I actually need to be to work. You guys know how it is. I usually have work on Saturdays, and that's the case today. But I did want to talk about this really quick, get this uploaded, and I'll see you guys later today for the stream. That's at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, but if I get home from work early, I'll start it early. Much appreciated, guys, and if you'd like to support this channel directly, consider donating on Patreon, link down below, and just hitting that like button is awesome too. I'll catch you next time.